challenge. Let me think about that. Well, we actually knew what to expect for sure because had done it before. We'd done this once before. We knew what the process was. Going into the rehearsal, we knew what the process was. Playing with the orchestra on stage and how that would be. Challenges. I think the challenges were not as obvious this time. One obvious challenge was that with songs that we have not played with the orchestra yet. I think that in itself was a little bit of a challenge, only because we didn't really know how effective the new songs would be with the orchestra, but it turned out it was really effective. I made sure that I was well prepared physically, musically, and mentally. So I took time to just prepare myself physically by upping my exercise routine 2 weeks before the show, and then a week before the show I upped my practice routine and started doing a lot more scales and exercises on the acoustic guitar, which is harder to play. So that once I got to my electric guitar, I could just fly. Yeah, I tried to be as well prepared as I possibly could. I have to say, Halo on Fire turned out really well. At least it sounded really good when we were playing it with the orchestra. Our ballads have a tendency to really, really shine through when you had an orchestra, and I really felt that songs like Nothing Else Matters, Halo on Fire, The Day That Never Comes, and All Within My Hands really benefited from the orchestra coming in and playing on those tunes. And so I have to say, one of the highlights for me was playing Halo on Fire and playing All Within My Hands, because Rob and I sang 3-part harmony with another vocalist who came on for that song, a guy named Avi. And that was a first for us, singing 3-part harmonies live like that on the acoustic song. And there was other highlights too, like James playing Unforgiven 3 a cappella with just the orchestra was very, very cool. I mean, I just thought it was just really super, super great. And another highlight for me was the Scott Pringle take on Chris Burton's bass solo, which was pretty surprising. I don't think any of us were expecting that. And then all of a sudden, he just busted out with this just amazing rendition of Chris Burton's bass solo. And we were all so surprised. I mean, I was so surprised. I wasn't expecting that at all. Well, I really like violin and cello and viola. I like the sound of those 3-stringed instruments. My 2 sons, one of them plays violin, the other one plays viola. Actually, no, I got that back. One of them plays viola, and another one plays cello. I'm really, really into the tonality and the power and the fullness. I think it's just like those are heavy metal instruments without even realizing that they are, To me, they're just so heavy. Given the choice, I would probably end up being a viola player or, a cello player or something like that. I can't get a note out of a horn. I've tried so many times, I just can't get a note. Not even one note. I didn't know him personally, and we'd never met him. But I mean, his music has had a long-standing influence on us. Obviously, I mean, Ecstasy of Gold was the music that we played before practically 99% of all Metallica shows started with the Ecstasy of Gold. And that's how much reverence that we held that particular piece of music. And Ennio, because he wrote that piece. It was his piece. He gave birth to it. So just by that, just for those reasons alone, it's just like he's been a huge influence on us because he's set the tone for all our shows that we've played since then. I mean, the Ecstasy of Gold really puts us in the mood, in a real mood, to go out there and just play, kick ass, and do the best we can. And so his music, you could say that particular song, you could say that's the soundtrack to all Metallica shows. That's the first soundtrack. That's the first music you hear, before we come on. Other than the music that's being played in the PA, but that's the first piece of monumental music, important music that's played at our shows. That's a part of the show, and it has to be a great piece of music. Every generation brings their musical styles and their musical tastes with them, and I can't really I don't feel like getting in the way of in the new generation's music and commenting on it. To me, feels like kind of like a loaded situation. But it seems to me that rock music isn't as popular. The commitment to rock music isn't as much as it was 30 years ago. Rock bands, there are fewer people who want to be in rock bands these days, fewer younger people who want to be in rock bands these days. And so that is all very interesting to me because it means that the people who are into rock and roll, the younger people who are into rock and roll, they're coming into this as almost like outsiders now, because it's not a genre of music that's the most powerful music or the most inspirational music right now. So they're kind of like on the outside, and I think whenever rock and roll is on the outside, and it's seen as underground music and whatnot, I think that's really good for it. Let it go underground, let it be not popular, because then musicians have a tendency to try harder when they believe that that the music that they want to play is threatened or obstacles are put up in front of it or against it. Musicians have a tendency to try harder. So I'm hoping that because rock and roll is the most popular genre of music right now, it will benefit from that. It will benefit from its lack of exposure. It will benefit from the new generation of people who are committing to it, who are adding their new sounds and their new outlook and their new perception to it. And I hope that it makes a comeback. But then again, I'm always hoping that rock and roll and heavy metal make a comeback. But just the fact that I've been put in a position where myself and with the band to make music that helps people and brings people joy and happiness. That to me is the greatest gift. That's the greatest gift of all, knowing that my music and the music that I make with the band is appreciated, and not only is it appreciated, but it helps people. And at the end of the day, all I really want to do is help people. I believe it's good karma. It's good for the world. It's good for the future. It's good for all our children. And I just hope that I'm in a situation where I can just continue to do it. And I'm going to do it. I don't ever plan on retiring. I plan on doing this so I can't do it anymore. I have a large love for the Mexicali people. You know, I grew up in the Mission District in San Francisco, amid Mexican culture, and so I love it all. I love Mexico, and I love the Mexicali people. I just have to say that. I love it. I love your music too.